Dream Team, it's your boy D-Neil back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with Bob Mortimer. This is my part 3. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, ring notification bell, get the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Let's dive right in.
So please welcome this week's special guest, Keith. Bob, first of all. Bob, what is Keith to you?
This is Keith. He's my oldest friend, and when we were at school together, we had a dictaphone in the classrooms.
I love the way school. I love the way he says school. When we were at school.
My oldest friend, and when we were at school together, we had a dictaphone in the classroom ceiling to confuse our teacher.
David Harewood?
This is my old teacher, Keith. I once had to claim I wasn't me when I met him in a cafe, as I was in character preparing for Homeland.
And finally, Lee, your relationship with Keith.
This is Keith, and his hawk. Yes. David, it's a difficult start. Well, go with it. Yeah. This is Keith, and his hawk was supposed to land on my arm at a village fete, but instead stole the wig from the man next to me and flew off into a tree.
So I feel like I have seen this one, so I apologize if I'm making y'all watch it again. I do, but I feel like I may know the answer to this, or if I get it wrong, then maybe I just have a terrible memory. But Keith seems familiar.
Oh yeah, it's Bob's classroom prankster, it's David's blanked buddy, or it's Lee's hawk handler. David's team, where do you start?
So, yes, David, he was a teacher at your school.
Very briefly.
What, a whole lesson?
I mean, I don't know if, I would see him.
But he didn't teach you?
No, not teach me.
He was someone who hung around a school, and he was, charitably, you assumed he was a teacher.
But if he was at the school a short period of time, how did you even recognise him in the cafe?
Oh, I knew it was him. He walked into the cafe and he said, "Hi, David," and basically I blanked him. It was literally the month before I went to America when I was doing Homeland, and I'd just been to see my dialect coach. He basically said I have to stay in my American voice. So
Could you not have explained that to him in your American voice? I'm sorry, buddy, but I'm doing a roll here.
I don't think it was ever...
I don't know what American voice that is, John. That's not how we talk, John.
as good as that, John, to be fair.
I basically just had to say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm remembering you now. Do the voice a bit more straight.
I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Ooh, that did weird things to me.
So your dialect coach said, you're in this role, you need to stay in this character.
Yeah.
Now the lesson's over, let's go to a very public place.
Yeah.
We are likely to encounter several people.
Well, that's what you have to do. You have to stay in that voice. You have to have the confidence to stay in your voice.
Why can't you just, like, turn it on like an actor?
Oh, that's a cheap shot, Sarah.
I have to say, I did phone him up afterwards and apologise.
So you had his number?
You stayed in touch with the teacher you barely remember.
Would it be fair to say the Hawk's looking a bit more plausible?
So, David, who would you like to question next?
Bob, remind us of your allegation.
When we were at school together, we had a dictaphone machine in the ceiling tiles to interrupt the lesson.
So not to record, but to play stuff?
Yeah.
What sort of stuff?
Well, it was important to keep a gap at the beginning, so we let it run for about 15 minutes. And then there was the noise of a fly. A brief period, then another period, to confuse the teacher.
Where would you get the noise from the fly? You'd make the noise.
We'd make the noise ourselves,
Let's hear
I'm
your
not paying
fly
for no
noise.
fly to do it.
Let's hear your fly.
It does sound like a fly.
Can I hear your bee?
We didn't do a bee.
Do you know how to do a bee? Just like that fly.
It's more wholesome if it's a bee, isn't it?
Show me the difference, David.
Well, I don't know. I'm not
do
Well,
it.
I'd say, OK, a bee would be a sort of a foot...
No, that's a
Whereas a
bumblebee.
fly is
Yeah.
a...
Very good. That's good. Very
He's
good.
right.
Do you see the way...
That is really good. That is really good, dog. I give it up to David. Geez, I don't know why I couldn't remember his name.
He just slipped straight in and out of character.
So you
So yes, there was silence,
Yeah.
then a little bit of fly, silence, a little bit of fly, and then quite loudly, but not to frighten anyone, the word wolf. Then more silence. A bit more silence. Then
Yeah.
Speedway Stadium. Like that.
Speedway Stadium.
Do you know, the idea was just to say kind of random things. He was a really nice teacher called Bill Whitlingham.
How did Bill Whitlingham react to these random sounds?
Well, Mr. Whitlingham left the room and said, "Can you sort this out by the time I've gone back?" So whatever it is that's going on. And there was a cupboard in the corner where, interesting, it had like exercise books in it, pens and that, but it also had, in a little cage, a hand lion, which is a robotic, it's a battery-operated thing.
Are you just saying any word that come into your head in any order?
It's a hand lion. And if
A
you've been-
hand lion.
It's a robotic, animatronic hand lion, yeah? And if you'd been particularly good, he would put it on your hand and set it to lick it. If you'd been particularly...
Is this like a clockwork
No,
lion?
it was remote control.
It was remote control?
Remote control. He had the controller in his desk, and he said, you've
the
been
actual
such a
hand
good boy.
lion-
Get out the hand lion, and you'll get a lick. And if you'd been bad, you put him on your hand and he'd strike. He'd strike at your hand.
So the hand lion had two settings. It could lick or it could strike.
Yes, good boy, bad boy.
Right, very
Good boy, bad
sensible.
boy. Now, the only problem with it, of course, was...
What, this story?
It would... The only problem was, of course, if the batteries got low, it would get constipated. No, anyway, but in this cupboard, so we got up on the
Oh
cupboard.
my God,
You climb onto the cupboard that
Yes.
the hand lion is housed in.
Probably asleep.
Right, you reach up onto the ceiling tile,
Take out the dictaphone.
switch it off.
Yep.
Mr. Whitlingham
Yes.
comes back in.
Yes.
What happens?
He's nervously awaiting another, edict from above. Doesn't come, we carry on with the lesson. British government and politics it was.
There was a
what was
lesson called British Government and Politics.
Yeah.
Whole year on that.
2 years, it was A-level.
For the sixth formers,
Yes.
a hand lion. a hand lion that can either lick or strike was what was used to express praise or the opposite to these 17 or 18-year-old students.
And it was very effective.
All right, would you like to move on to the final claim?
So, Lee, tell the story about Keith.
I was at Village Fete, and
Why were you at a village fete?
I was helping out.
What village?
Thames Ditton.
Why were you helping out at Thames Ditton Fete?
Because I don't live too far away from there, and they asked me to help out, and I did a few little things, like I did a bit of tombola, a bit of announcing. Then I went over to judge the pig racing. The usual things you do at a fete, you know.
The pig racing?
Yeah. I don't know why I judged it, because surely first past the post, but... I was there in case of a dead heat.
And what happened with the hawk and Keith and the wig?
One of the things I had to do was to volunteer to stand there and learn. He had the little headpiece on where he'd teach the crowd basic falconry, I believe we call it. I'd stick the glove on and then hold this little thing. I don't know what it was, but I'm doing this.
A
I'm a bit
small
nervous.
morsel of meat.
Thank God you've been to one, because I haven't. I'm holding a small morsel of meat. Then what happens? And
Then the swan comes down.
the swan came down. So the hawk comes over, right? It comes over. There's a person missing from this story, and it's the mayor, right? The local mayor. I can't say it in I always struggle.
Mayor?
The mayor, right?
So you're standing next to a horse.
Yeah, so the local... So the mayor is doing his bit, but the mayor has got a wig on, right? The hawk flies over to go and land on my hand, but he lands on the mayor's head, and so he gets caught up in his what should we call them?
Talons.
Talons.
Gets caught up in the talons, and then in the sort of panic, the bird sort of, and he can't release this wig, and he flies off, and he goes into the tree. I said, why didn't he go for the meat? And he said, I genuinely think the gold chain caught his eye. There was a bit of confusion for a second, and he just did a bit of an emergency landing on a Mers wig at Thamesden Fate. What's there not to believe?
Did you cry, oh no, the Mers hers over there?
All right, so David's team is Keith.
I'm pretty sure it was the first guy, the black guy that played at Homeland. And I've seen that show. But because I feel like I have seen this before. But Bob's story also sounded like it could be it. He sounded very weird, but I'm pretty sure it's the first guy. I don't know. I think it is.
Keith. Bob's classroom prankster, David's blanked buddy, or Lee's hawk handler.
That's David, my bad. It's got to be David. It's got to be David.
I was believing Bob until the fact that he was 18 and the hand lying. I'm leaning towards David.
I think I'm leaning towards David. I think it's Bob, and I think he panicked because he knew we were onto him, so he went on a ridiculous riff about a hand line to throw us off the scent. I'll go Bob, but I've been wrong before. Sarah?
I'm going to go David.
We'll go David.
You're saying David. Mm-hmm. Keith, please reveal your true identity.
My name's Keith, and Bob and I recorded voices.
I knew it was Bob. I knew it was. I don't know why I said David. I knew it was. I'm such an idiot.
Phone in the ceiling.
Yes. Keith is Bob's classroom prankster.
I would never have believed all that stuff about a hand line was completely true.
Thanks very much, Keith.
Thank you.
F me. That's all we got. Make sure y'all subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy D. Out.